Hey everyone! Welcome back! I am back today with more Mob Psycho 100. You guys, I'm really excited to see what's going to happen next. If you're joining me early today, you already know what it means. It means you are one of my awesome patrons. Thank you so much, and as always, I'm sending you up those big old hugs right through that screen. And if not, still thank you for joining me today. I'm glad you're here. I do hope you'll consider supporting me that way. The link to my Patreon is going to be in the description down below. So we had quite the intense little episode of Mob Psycho last time. I said this last time, the first two episodes were very kind of, carried that same tone of like, kind of silly lightheartedness and goofiness and dry humor and everything that we had seen in season one. And then they just kind of like came out of nowhere and hit us with, not out of nowhere, because I mean, it makes total sense to go in this direction. But kind of with a heavier tone, I think, than what we've seen before. We have definitely seen some like heavier tones on this show, but this one, I think I felt the weight of it a little bit more because we got a little bit more of like Mob actually like literally sweating out the thought of something. And typically, like in last season, I feel like when we saw Mob, if he was upset about something, we didn't really see like Mob processing that. He would explode and then we'd see exploded Mob. We did, and we have seen him dealing with things for sure, but I don't know, there was just something about the way it was presented in the last episode that felt different to me, and it really weighed on me. And I think it's very interesting that they're exploring this concept that, Mob, the spirit world is just as real to him as this world, as his own world, and he has to deal with being the mediator between both, which means he basically decides who lives and dies on the other side. He decides who's getting exercise. Like, yeah, Reigen can tell him to, but I mean, it's up to him to like hear their pleas, and he's the only one that can hear it. And it's a huge responsibility, and it's a weight that he bears all alone, because even those who have powers, there's just he has no equal. Is basically, I think, what they've laid out for us. Like, there's no one as powerful as him. His powers are so vast and limitless that, one thing he addressed in the last episode is, like, if he ever made the wrong decision and decided to hurt a living person or something like that, who would even stop him? That's a lot to deal with. And this is coming from a boy that we know has difficulty processing emotions that are kind of everyday emotions. To have to process that on top of it is a huge responsibility, and I think it's really interesting that they're exploring that now. We saw last season, it was all about kind of suppressing his powers as much as possible to avoid hurting anyone. And now that he's trying to work through his emotions and use his powers and kind of learn like how to do things in balance, now he kind of has to deal with, actually addressing that, whereas before, like, he was kind of suppressing it. Now he has to really process it. So yeah, I was not expecting such a heavy episode, but it was great. So well done. I love that we can do wacky, fun humor and like very heavy drama just as well. So I'm excited to see where things are going. I can definitely see how folks are saying like season 2 is so good. I can already see that we're going to be kind of kicking things up a little bit. So what do you say we go ahead and get started with the next episode? Let's go. Oh my God. So remember everything I was saying about there being no one as powerful as Mob? Apparently there was. And apparently, remember everything I was saying about what if that individual used their powers for evil? I need to stop. Because I hate it when I'm right. Oh no. And he like absorbed all those spirits so that he could be like extra powerful and evil when he died. And it sounds like what pushed him to it was just the compound effect of seeing like the spirit world and death and evil just like over and over and over, and then like the events of his own life with like watching his mother suffer and everything that kind of drove him to it. So I'm really scared for like him being in Mob's head and making Mob see things in a different light, because we know that like Mob has a very high like moral code, like a very strong moral code, and that's been guided very carefully by like Reigen and even like Mob working on himself. Like they even said in this episode, like, wow, is he changing or is he like trying to change himself? And I do feel like he's made a lot of progress and he's been like actively really trying to do that. And it really worries me that someone's going to come in and like put things in his head to try and like lead him down the wrong path. I think Mob has a lot of strength. I don't think he's that vulnerable to just be like talked into anything. But there's a difference between talking someone into it and being in their head and making them live it. And I'm very, 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 very worried about this. I'm worried that even like, I'm sure we will get Mob back and this will turn out all right, but I'm worried about the effect that this experience will have on him. And because he has no equal, like who's going to go in there after him and save him? Unless Reigen might just, he might just find a way anyway because he's Reigen. Also Dimple Mob. That was terrifying, but also really cool. Oh, I'm afraid Dimple's not going to give his body back, though. Come on, Dimple. Mob is trusting you. You need to be cool here. Guys, I'm worried. I'm, like, legit worried. I see Mob as somewhat impressionable. Like I said, I don't see him as, like, that pliable or malleable. But I think he is impressionable. And I think that the way that he processes his emotions, even though he has been working at it, does make him a little bit more inclined to the effects of negative emotions. And I'm not excited about the fact that someone is going to be literally putting that thought in his head now, making him live his life with this new perspective. Wow, guys. Oh my God. What happened to this season? Because this started out like fun and floofy, and we're getting into some stuff now, guys. We really are. I can't wait to see where it's going, but I'm very, 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 very concerned. I'm incredibly concerned. I'll be honest, I wasn't concerned about Mob last season. I felt like no matter what happened, like he was still going to be Mob, even if he was like dealing with some stuff. I'm worried. I'm legit worried, guys. I'm legit worried. All right. I hope you had as much fun with that as I did. That was a blast. This season is so good so far, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Please be sure to join me next time. Pretty please. And we will watch it together. Bye for now, guys.